Let's go. Yo, what's up? Coming to you live, episode 64 of the Crossover Podcast. Exercising all that on this hold up. Last day of 27, well, not last day, but on this last weekend of 2017, last Friday of 2017. Yes, we are live and in person from the cold East Coast, various parts of Philadelphia, one part of Silver Springs, Maryland, and we're here. Rigid, but we're here. All right, I'm gonna reintroduce the panel. We got somebody who hasn't been here in forever up in the jaw, up in the place. Go ahead, Andre, reintroduce yourself.
What's up? What's up? My name's Andre Terry. I'm West Philly born and raised. In the playground, I spend most of my days. For those that know, I'm sure you get that. Just sports enthused, like all four sports. Here to lay some insight on what I see going on in the sports world and political and like all other topics we talk about. But I'm always thankful. I'm glad to be a part of the podcast.
Go ahead, Amina.
Hi everyone, this is Athena joining you everyone for another week. It's our last episode of the year, so we're gonna have some year-end topics and regular topics that we're gonna talk about them, and I hope everyone enjoys the show.
All right. All right, guys. As I said, we are joined by somebody who hasn't been on the podcast in a while. And I saved the best for last, but we're gonna get an introduction because she won't tell y'all this herself. So I'm gonna do it. Since we last left our girl Courtney, she has been gone for about 2 to 3 months, I believe. And in that span of 2 to 3 months, I'm going to embarrass her a little bit. She has now y'all know she was anybody who's ever listened to the show, whatever she's on, you know that she just recently graduated law school in May, Columbia Law. Shout out to the Ivy League, and she has since that time officially passed the bar in Maryland. So that's our little thing. So allow me to reintroduce the officially licensed lawyer, Miss Courtney Hodge. Go ahead, Courtney.
Well, thank you for that wonderful introduction. So happy to be back on the podcast. I do, because I'm a lawyer, I must correct the record ever so slightly. One, I live in DC, not Silver Springs, very different place. Two, I am officially barred in DC, took the oath in December, so I'm officially a lawyer. That does not mean that you can contact me for all of your legal problems. My family has already taken up all the slots for all of 2018, but happy to be back on the podcast.
Already corrected me. She just got back on the podcast, yo. She is making up for lost time already. But anyway, as we always we start this show. I'm glad she mentioned DC. We're gonna start with this crossover. We're gonna start with our crossover hot takes. And since she's officially in DC, we're gonna start with one of Courtney's. Well, she does. She's not a Washington DC football. But we're gonna start with the former Eagle, the former Skin, and current Tampa Bay Buccaneer, Deshaun Jackson, and we're gonna start with this. Guys, what's wrong with Deshaun Jackson? Go ahead, Andre.
What's wrong with Deshaun Jackson? That's a pretty loaded question. Because he's been crazy for a long time. Um, I guess it's a better question of who we do we really know the rules for Deshaun Jackson? Like he grew up in a rough neighborhood. You know, his dad was around. And so, from my understanding of his life, his dad was a big stability in his life, and his dad's not here anymore. So, you know, we've seen men how they are after they lose that stable piece in their life, like with Mike Tyson, with his trainer, um, Michael Jordan with his dad. although he's doing well now. Um, it has a huge, huge, it has a huge impact on their life, and then take a turn for the worse. Um, so I don't know what's going on with him. I think he's still searching for himself, which is kind of sad because it's like, you're a grown man. I don't know if he's married, but I know he has a child. I know he has a girlfriend, and like you got so many people relying upon you, and just like when you're in sports, you're a role model, whether he wants to be or not. When you get in front of that camera, when we give you a certain amount of money, you gotta carry yourself a certain way, and that's how you should, be. But and they were informed of this. Like as soon as they come in the league, like they talk to ex players, they talk to lawyers, they talk to accountants, and for some reason, however, well, I know what the reason is. When you give somebody that kind of money who comes from nothing, it's kind of hard for them to some ultra entrepreneur and some smart guys, some savvy guy that understands how to navigate through this world with this kind of money, this kind of pressure. But what's wrong with Deshaun Jackson? I think he's really doing some soul searching. That's what I think is wrong with him. But he needs a big brother. He needs somebody to pull his coattails, somebody to kick him in the behind, somebody he can listen to. That's what he needs.
Go ahead, Courtney.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I have much else to add to what Jay said. I guess just for me, reading about all the news that came out about Deshaun Jackson this week, it's just kind of sad to watch like another black male, another rising star kind of spiral out of control a little bit. And I just hope that, he can find that stabling factor in his life that will help him kind of get back on control and like realize that there's so many people out there, like Dre said, that like are watching his every move. Like there's so many kids out there who, are watching him and looking up to him and admire him, and that this is more than just like being a football player. Like you are in many ways a role model. And, it's just like really sad to kind of watch another one of our role models go to the league, get famous, and kind of like lose his mind a little bit or get caught up with people who are not the best influences in life and just kind of losing that discernment in his life. So hopefully in 2018 he can kind of turn over a new leaf, get the help he needs, find that stabilizing factor in his life, and kind of like pull out whatever it is he's currently going through right now.
Amina?
Yeah, in reference to the Deshaun Jackson factor, he's getting older. He's 31, and he's still having, personal situations in his life. So, like you all had implied, that maybe it's just soul searching. Maybe he's going through an early non-midlife crisis. I don't know, but every time I hear about him in the media, it's never anything positive, really. He's always doing something crazy, getting caught with something, just something. But this is just the latest incident. I mean, it happened on Sunday night, and they found narcotics and bullet casings in his vehicle, a vehicle that was under his name, but he was not driving it. So, like, I think a friend, he either lent the car to or the friend stole it. I forget which one, but it's just crazy. He needs to just lay low and try to be a positive example out there in society, because you know his name is attached to some really crazy things. And what me and Kylan had talked about off air this week is that he may be better off coming back to a cooler climate, because what we've noticed is that he has these episodes in his life when he's in areas where it's warmer weather. He's down near Florida, so maybe it's not the best for him. So it's the new year coming on Monday, so hopefully he gets his life together and be a positive, upstanding civilian out there, because his name's attached to some crazy things over the years. It's crazy. But I hope he can learn from his mistakes in life and bounce back, and that it doesn't impact his future. But you all tackled what you all had to say in a nutshell. So, nothing much to say about Sean Jackson outside of that.
Yeah, I don't really have much else to add. I mean, Andre and Courtney kind of covered it, but when I knew something was wrong with Deshaun Jackson, I don't know if any of y'all remember. I know Andre probably do. If y'all remember when he was an Eagle, this was around the time before Chip Kelly got rid of him, but this was the preceding event that led to Chip Kelly getting rid of him. We found out via our local news agency, that a Philadelphia Eagle had their home robbed. Now, most of our players in Philadelphia, those of you who even live in the city or whatever, you know that unlike most cities, we're in a unique position where most of our athletes do not live in Philadelphia. They usually live in Cherry Hill, New Jersey. Why that is, nobody really knows, but that's where they all decide to go. Either Cherry Hill or King of Prussia for some reason. But we found out that an Eagle had gotten robbed. I think this is 2013. We found out that the Eagle had gotten their house robbed, and they didn't live far from the stadiums in South Philly. Now, turns out it was Deshaun Jackson he wasn't home. They robbed him, took some jewelry, took about, I think, maybe a couple $1,000s in jewelry and stuff. But this is what I knew something was wrong with Deshaun Jackson, because only Deshaun Jackson, like if I had to pick an Eagle on that team who lived in Philadelphia and didn't do what most of the team did and live in Cherry Hill, it would have been Deshaun Jackson. And I think that was done by one of his friends too. Like he had gotten his house robbed. Like I said, he wasn't home. He might have been at the NovaCare facility getting some training in, but he wasn't home, right? And so that was the preceding event that led to Chip Kelly being all like, you know what, Deshaun, you got to go, blah, 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 blah. And if Matt was here, I know he's incoming. I know he's going to be mad he missed this question, because everybody that knows Matt knows he always likes to kick Chip Kelly. So unfortunately, he's not here to kick Chip Kelly. But, and ever since he left Philadelphia, it's like Deshaun Jackson's been crying out for help ever since then. And, I hope he makes better choices. I hope he gets better friends. I don't know what it is with these athletes, whether it be him or Allen Iverson, these people from notoriously African-American areas, Compton and Deshaun's case, Hampton, Virginia, and Allen Iverson's case. Now, I hope he doesn't end up like Allen Iverson, because what happened with Allen Iverson is, he had all that promise, all that money, lost a lot of it, helping out his friends from Hampton, Virginia, and listening to them and everything else. And that's why, even to this day, Allen Iverson is still playing basketball, even though he shouldn't be. And I hope he doesn't end up like Allen Iverson. I hope he doesn't end up like most of these athletes who keep their friends around from the hood who mean them no good. And they wound up losing money, and they wound up being 30 for 30s when they shouldn't be. Now, Deshaun Jackson is a great player, great guy. I hope he makes better choices. I hope they bring him back to Philadelphia. Not now, but later on, so he can come back, be happy, spend the twilight years of his career somewhere that he likes, and
just retire as an Eagle, baby.
And just go ahead and retire. I know he's been crying. Like I said, I know he's been crying out for help ever since Chip Kelly cut him. I know he loved the city with all his heart. I know we were the one city that embraced him and everything. But Deshaun, I'm going to need you to not lend your car to any of your friends anymore. I know the weed, I'm do a Stephen A. Smith. Stay off the weed. Stay away from the weed. That's what got Josh Gordon. We don't want it to get you, even though you play for the Buccaneers, and I couldn't care less about the Buccaneers, but you're a great player, the former Eagle, so I got a vested interest in you. Do better, man. In 2018, do better. Get yourself out of a hot environment. That's what you need to do. Come back to Philadelphia. Do something. Go to a cold environment. Don't go back to California because that'll be even worse for you. Just stay off. Stay away. Stay off the weed. Get better friends. Get some counseling. Do what you got to do. Come back stronger in 2018. All right. Now that that's handled, before we get to the topics, we're gonna do some things. Something that's a new segment. That we've been trying out. Y'all know that there are some things that this show would be 3 hours, and we got everything that happened this week. So we just gonna cover that now. The most recent thing that just happened like a couple hours ago is Sheriff Captain Sucking Place himself, David Clark, is now officially under FBI investigation. His emails are getting looked at. That just broke 2 hours ago. Thank you, Robert Mueller and Donald Trump for getting him involved in that. So he's under FBI investigation. All y'all saw the global warming quotes from Donald Trump. We won't get into that today. We kind of touched on that off air. And all we're going to say on that officially as a unit is, where's Miss Frizzle when you need her to help 45 out in understanding global warming? That's all we're going to say about that one. And yeah, that's about it. So on to our second question. So guys, are we destined? And Courtney, I know she's a Ravens fan, so she can just imagine that instead of saying, are we destined for an all-PA Super Bowl, I just said, are we destined for an I-95 Super Bowl? We'll just plug her Ravens in because I know she don't like the Steelers. But for the rest of us, are we destined for an all-PA Super Bowl? And for Courtney, are we destined for a Baltimore versus Eagles Super Bowl? Go ahead, Dre.
I really, 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 really hope so. Listen, if we can get an all-PA Super Bowl, that would be monumental. We've been talking about that for years. I mean, we talk about Super Bowls anyway. But some are more stand out more than others. Like the one Peyton Manning played in. He didn't have an arm. The defense took over. We're going to talk about that forever. The one the Patriots stole from the Eagles. We're going to talk about that forever. And the other teams they stole from. Listen, first of all, let's worry about the Eagles getting there. That's my team. Fly, Eagles, fly. I need them to get there with Nicky Six. I need him to show up and be the quarterback I know he can be. If he plays to the potential, he played that Raiders game a couple years ago, 2013, when he threw 7 touchdowns. Man, Super Bowl is ours. Listen, we hit it straight to Super Bowl, and we're going to take it. The Steelers, they can beat the Patriots. The question is, are the referees going to allow them to beat the Patriots? Come on, man. We all know that was a catch when they played the Steelers. They stole the game from them. Somehow, some way, the Patriots always overcome the Steelers. I don't know. Maybe it's because it's Tom Brady's on the team, and Bill Belichick is the coach, and Donald Trump is one of their biggest supporters ever, and Roger Goodell loves them too. So they got all their cards stacked, and all everything's in their favor. I want to say yes, but I got a feeling the Patriots going to do something to cheat or underhanded to get in the Super Bowl again. It's ridiculous. I'm so sick of seeing them. I'm definitely the type to root for underdog. Imagine that, me and Eagles fan root for the underdog. I'm always rooting for the underdog. I always want to see somebody else get ahead. I want the Browns to win a game. What the hell? You can't win one game? Like Michael Blackson said, we're going to trade y'all for the Ohio State Buckeyes in a minute. And y'all going to go to college. This is ridiculous. Y'all can't win one game? Just one game. Hey, but, yeah, I hope so. I really, really hope so. And I got faith in my team, though. I know we can make it. If we show up the team we've been all season and we just figure it and we just We play every down and we don't worry about what the score says, and we just play our hearts out. Shout out to Chris Long. He played his heart out last game. You know, we're gonna be good. We're gonna be good.
Courtney?
Well, I'm gonna answer both your questions. To the all 95 game Super Bowl, I'm gonna be real. I'm not sure the Ravens are gonna make it that far. I'm gonna be real. I'm a realist. Do I hope they do? Yes. Do I hope to play the Eagles and win? Yes, obviously. Sorry, everybody. Um, but I don't know about the Ravens. But that's neither here nor there. But to answer your real question, about the all PA Super Bowl, I think that would be awesome. I'm just not completely sold on it at this point, for a couple reasons. One, I think that if the Ravens and Steelers play each other in the second round of the playoffs, the Steelers are going to have a serious fight. Like, even though the Ravens have been like rocky here or there, like when we play the Steelers, we come out balls to the wall, lay it all out there, and it's definitely going to be a tough fight. So I can't say the Steelers couldn't even get knocked out first round. I can't say that couldn't get knocked out by the Patriots. Like, that's also going to be a tough fight. On the Eagles side, I mean, y'all have a great team. My best goes out to Carson Wentz. Wish he was still around. But I can't say I know enough about.
Thank you, Courtney. We appreciate it.
Anytime. Sidebar, he's my fantasy football quarterback, so I actually really do feel for Carson Wentz right now. And for all of you Eagles fans out there, I'm
Not
hurting
only are
a
you
little
beautiful,
bit.
but you're smart.
I'm hurting a little bit. Thank you though. Anyway, but back to the Eagles. Now that Carson is gone, you guys still have a great team, great offense, great defense, all that stuff. I am just not completely sold on your backup, Nick Foles. Foles, is that how you say his last name? I'm sorry, I don't have his name in front of me, so I kind of messed that up. I'm not sure about him yet. Like, I'm not sure about him in the pressure of a playoff game with a bunch of fans yelling at him for him to mess up and fumble. Like, can he handle that pressure? And maybe that's just me. I don't know his background. I know he's a great quarterback, but he's also not Carson Wentz. So it's still a little fuzzy for me on the all PA, all I-95 Super Bowl right now.
Amina?
It would be. I mean, like I believe when it comes to football, you take one game at a time because football is unpredictable. But take one game at a time. But it would be an interesting Super Bowl if the Steelers and Eagles are playing. But we'll see how it goes. As far as the Eagles per se, Nick Foles had a playoff run with the Eagles, so we know he can go beyond the regular season and run through playoff games. He's done it before, so he has that potential. But this is a different NFL season, so we'll see about that. But it will also be nice to get a 2005 rematch of the Patriots with the Eagles, in my opinion. See if the Eagles can redeem themselves, bounce back. Truthfully, I wanted a rematch with those two teams from 2005, but another part of me don't want them to be in the Super Bowl because it's always rigged when they're in the Super Bowl. Steelers, they've had a great run this season. They played Courtney's Ravens and they beat them by a point, and that game was so close in that last quarter. I was kind of sad for the Ravens, how they basically won the game. They got snatched for them. But Eagles and Steelers are all PA Super Bowl. I mean, people have been talking about it for years now, and the fact that it might just happen is very interesting. And the Super Bowl is going to be in Minnesota in February, and the Vikings have a chance of doing something that no NFL team has done ever, and that's playing in the Super Bowl at their home stadium. So the Vikings are nearly set on making NFL records right about now. So it'll be a very very interesting playoff in January. We'll get to see who teams get booted every week. But from where I sit, the Super Bowl is going to be very unpredictable. And the two teams that make it there in February are going to blow people's mind from where I sit. People are going to be very shocked at the two teams that are going to end up playing in the Super Bowl. I don't think it's going to be a traditional regular Super Bowl. It's going to be something special. The Eagles in Super Bowl, the Eagles in be awesome. Get to see Western PA play Eastern PA. But we shall see. But Nick Foles, he has the potential. Like I said, he has had a successful playoff run with the Eagles. So he's not a bad quarterback. He's not Carson Wentz, but he is awesome.
My turn. I believe that. Well, here's the thing. I'll start with the Steelers. Right. I believe that the Steelers, if they don't get bitten by the injury bug anymore, I believe the Steelers can beat the Patriots. And the injury that I'm talking about that always happens to the Steelers is what killed them last year too, and the year before that is the injuries that often happen to the Steelers involve Le'Veon Bell. The last 2 years, every time they got injured in the playoffs, it involved Le'Veon Bell. So I believe that the only thing that's going to stop the Steelers is the injury bug, and as Andre alluded to, the NFL, the ref. But but I believe that that the Steelers will be all right. We don't have any Steelers fans among us within the podcast family, but we send our prayers to Ryan Shazier. Nobody wants to see anybody have a spinal stenosis and may end up paralyzed, so nobody wants to see that. Get well soon, Ryan Shazier. But I think for the Steelers, as Courtney alluded to, it all depends on who they are going to play in the second round, and that could be anybody between the Chiefs, the Ravens, the Chargers. Who else is possibly in the playoffs on that side? Whoever is going to end up. We know one thing: both PATs will be playing come January 13th. We know that, right? But as far as my Eagles go, the Eagles finally had a game where the defense showed up and the offense didn't. And as long as I don't see Christmas Day Nick Foles in the playoffs, I'll be all right. But if I see Christmas Day Nick Foles come January 13th or 14th, I might be a little worried. Come in okay weekend in 2 weeks. I might be a little worried for my Eagles. But it seems like this will be our Peyton Manning was too old year. So it seems like this might be the year where our defense has to carry us. And I have no problem with that. But, when you have to face the Rams, the Seahawks, hopefully the Seahawks, even though I love Russell Wilson, hopefully the Seahawks don't make it. See the Seahawks running all over Russell Wilson having a Donovan McNabb game in the house that Donovan McNabb built. So, no. The Seahawks, whoever, hopefully the Eagles will at least make it to the NFC Championship game. I really do hope they make it to the Super Bowl because I do have some faith in Nick Foles, but I need to see him against the Cowboys actually have a really good game. Don't miss passes, like easy passes like he was missing on Monday. And If I see that, if I see consistency, if I see that, I believe right now because they're my team. I'm a ride with my team no matter what. But I do want to say that this is the first time we've been to the playoffs in 4 years, and this is not the time to have it be blown by a quarterback that's looking a little shaky. So I'm like Courtney. I love my team, but I'm a realist. I need him to have a really good game against Dallas. Look like the Nick Foles of old, even though I know it's been 4 years. But look like the Nick Foles of old and make me confident and happy again. But I know that at least my team will be playing come January 13th. So as long as the Eagles do that, as long as the defense stays ready, I believe we can go far in the playoffs. And I believe because I've seen it with Courtney's Ravens in 2000, more recently with the Denver Broncos in what year was that? In 2014, 2015, whatever that year was. I've seen good defenses carry a team to the Super Bowl and win. I've seen it. So hopefully this can be our year. We'll see. But I'm excited possibly for the All PA Super Bowl, even though I think it might end up being an All PA Super Bowl, a rematch in 2005, or the Super Bowl of Andy Reid, where the Chiefs can get hot and it could be the Chiefs versus the Eagles. Wouldn't that be nice? The Chiefs versus the Eagles. Wouldn't that be nice? But we'll see. So we're gonna move right along. So, guys, is there? Before we answer this question, because some people might have been confused. Uh, so a little background on this next question. The Patriots have told Tom Brady's doctor to stay away. The doctor that has Tom Brady playing like his old self instead of his 40-year-old self. They told him to stay off the sidelines, that he can't be nowhere near the team, that nothing, he can't do anything as far as it comes to the team. All he's allowed to do is be with Tom Brady, and he can't go to games, can't do nothing, can't be in the facility anymore. So, with that knowledge, is there friction between Belichick and Brady? Let's see. Let's start with Amita. Let's work backwards. Go ahead, Amita. Amita, you there?
Yeah, I was unmuting myself. Because I wasn't up on this particular story too much. Like, is was Doctor told not to be like around the stadium and going to games and stuff because of Tom Brady's age or something?
They didn't give a reason. I think the official reason was he was walking around and trying to get his business on other players by saying, "Look how I have Tom Brady playing. I can get you playing the same way." And he said something along the lines of he could also cure cancer. I don't really know. That's the official reason that they're giving. But basically, I think it was he was acting a little too big for his britches, and they got rid of him. So
Yeah.
I don't know.
Okay. Well, since that's been brought to the light, yeah, if you're someone's personal, private mm, doctor, lawyer, um, somebody professional, that you represent as somebody as an individual, you don't go around the team they play on and doing that. Like, you're not being paid by the team. You're not being paid by more than one player. Like, what's up with you? Like, and then you're going around saying things that have gotten you into some hot water. Like, so I'm with the Patriots for basically not allowing his doctor to be around the stadium or the games anymore because it's burning not so much bridges, but burning out your welcome in a light. Like, I understand some people got certain views and all that, but it's not the right environment for that. You're there to service Tom Brady. You're being paid by him, not anyone else. You're not the New England Patriots team's doctor. You're Tom Brady's doctor, which means that should have some type of limits or boundaries set up in your life in regards to the team he plays on. Yeah, it's for best that he's been told to not come around because it might get ugly, or he could be telling them some things that are against team policies or whatever. But yeah, like you don't do stuff like that. That's out of pocket.
Okay, I see what you mean, but I like your answer, but I need you to answer. I know you gave your opinion on it, but I need you to answer the more interesting question and the one that we're really trying to get at, because nobody bans the doctor or bans anybody on that team without Belichick say. So, do you think that there is friction now between the coach and his quarterback?
Oh yes, it is because the doctor is Tom Brady's doctor, and the coach is over the team, and the coach is a part of the office team that has say so in what goes on. So the doctor, of course, isn't going to like the coach anymore. He might even want Tom Brady to even not have anything to do with the coach. So I believe there's some type of friction. I mean, he was told not to come to games. He was told not to be at the stadium, and his client or his patient, whatever, is playing on the team. So any medical services he gives Tom Brady has to happen at an off-site location at this point. So that's tension in itself. So I believe there's some tension as a result of what transpired. But then it goes back to again watching what you say, watch who you say it around to, mind your manners, don't do certain things in certain environments, you know. Not everything is for everywhere. So I believe there's some type of tension. No one likes to be banned from places.
Huh, true. All right, go ahead, Courtney.
Uh, well, whether or not I think Belichick, whomever banned Tom Brady's doctor, because there's fiction between the two of them, I don't know. But I'm sure there's fiction between Brady and Belichick now because, like, as Colin said in his intro, like, this doctor has Brady playing like he's a 30-year-old and Brady is like 40, and most quarterbacks his age do not play as well as he do. So if I was in Brady's position, I'd be pissed that my personal doctor, who like basically is like helping me keep my career and keep my paycheck, is no longer allowed in the place that I work and can't travel with me to games. That said, I don't think that Belichick was wrong in banning this quote unquote doctor um, from the sidelines and from other players. And I say quote unquote because this doctor has been charged twice with fraud. It's not entirely clear. There seems to be some accounts that maybe he's not actually a medical licensed doctor. I couldn't fact check that, so like don't go out and quote me for sure. But it's enough to suggest that like maybe this doctor is not like the medical professional that you want around all of your players. And if it got to the point where it was like a whole bunch of other players were turning to this doctor over the very well trained training staff that I'm sure the Patriots have, then like, yeah, I would go ahead and ban him too to help keep control of my players and keep control over their health and their safety, as opposed to leave it in the hands of some potentially fraudulent doctor who thinks he can cure cancer, which is probably a lie because to date there is not a cure for cancer really. But that's neither here nor there. But to answer your question, like, yeah, I'm sure there's now friction between Belichick and Brady if it wasn't there before this happened.
Andre?
Yeah, I was reading up on it as well. I'm with Courtney. I don't know who this guy is or if he is a medical doctor. And just reading some of what the Washington Post had posted by Cindy Bourne, they talk about in the article that last summer the Boston Globe reported nearly every Patriots player had gone to the TB12, which is Tom Brady's facility center for massages and stretching exercises with Guerrero. And all right, I think that's overstepping your boundaries. It's one thing the guy already had all access pass to everything. Like he was on chartered flights with them. He was on the sidelines. So I'm a big component of you got to set the boundaries and rules very, very clear, and you got to constantly meet on these things, and you got to stay in great communication with people in order to so people know their place. Otherwise, things could get out of hand because people are people. Like they want to do certain things, and they're like, "Oh, I got a great idea," but yeah, okay, it's cool. You got a great idea, but we got proper channels, and we do things a certain way. We want order to it. We don't want chaos. We don't want you coming there thinking you El Chapo, like you are. You can just do whatever you want. That's not going to happen. No, it's not. That's the way we do it around here. And I also was reading an article that the team's medical and training staff had complained that his methods clashed with theirs. So, it's something about that is weird. Not saying that all the methods and training staff, all the other things they do are great because, they hid for years concussions. And I'm sure there's other stuff that's going to come out later on that they hid or they did, just in order to keep the business going, like CTE. But yeah, it's definitely some friction between Brady and Belichick. Brady might think because not only does he work with this guy, but they came out with a book. And guess how much the book costs? $200. It's a $200 cookbook. It tells you it's emphasis on exercises, supplements, and a special diet. It's funny to me, like when people charge large amounts of money for something, like kind of raise the red flag because you're really trying to help people. You won't try to gouge them of everything. Like $200 is extremely expensive, like especially if you're trying to make it accessible to the masses. Or maybe you're not. Maybe they're just trying to do for certain athletes or certain families or certain genders or certain people with social economics. But yeah, I think Belichick did the right thing, and I definitely think it's some friction there. It's probably going to come out eventually. But I think they're both great professionals. I think they won't allow it to affect their play this year because they know how hard it is to win a Super Bowl, even with all their cheating.
Oh, listen, this was great research and great. This is what we encourage. This is what I encourage everybody to do. This is why they get the topics beforehand. Great research by Courtney and Andre. I mean, Courtney brought up some things that, even I didn't know that the bull had been in jail, had a criminal record. I didn't know that the doctor had a criminal record. And Andre with the find about this turmoil being between the doctors, the team doctors, and him, which I also didn't know about. But so I'm gonna bring something up. I believe, don't quote me on this, but I believe that it came out that Tom Brady originally, this was not Tom Brady's doctor originally. The person who put Tom Brady onto this doctor was Gisele Bundchen because he was Gisele's doctor before he was Tom Brady's doctor. And y'all know what happens when you're married, when one spouse, when one part of the household has a good doctor. That usually means, especially if it's the wife's doctor, that I'm not married. So I can't personally testify to this, but I know how it works in my household with my mother and father. So, with one person as a good doctor, that's the family doctor, and especially if it's the wife, the woman of the house, that means that's your doctor too. So, so that could be originally, I believe that's how the relationship got started. He was Giselle's doctor, and that's how. And we all know Gisele Bundchen. I believe she's about in her late 30s, almost 40 herself, and she doesn't look it. So I believe this is the same doctor that keeps her looking young, and he did the same thing to Tom Brady. Now, doctor in quotes. I'm not trying to get in legal jeopardy here. So, doctor in quotes, but some people do believe that his methods are not. Now, Tom Brady has never tested for any performance enhancing drugs or anything, but some people believe that the reason he is performing like a 20 or 30-year-old, as I alluded to, is because this doctor has some less than illegal methods of doing that. And he would not be the first Super Bowl winning quarterback, if true. And I should say this is a rumor. I'm not trying to get sued. This is a rumor. But he wouldn't be the first one to use some kind of enhancement drugs to make his body heal like it should when he was younger, or play like he was younger, a la Peyton Manning, because Peyton Manning did the same thing to come back from his neck injury a couple Super Bowls ago. So he wouldn't be the first one to do something like that. So, but to answer the question, yes, I believe that there is friction. I believe there's been friction between Belichick and Brady, because I know that Belichick has been rumored is very upset that the Patriots traded the two quarterbacks behind Tom Brady, which basically left him with nothing, because it's Tom Brady and Brian Hoyer. And let's be real, nobody wants Brian Hoyer on their roster. That's the equivalent of having Coy Detmer and Ty Detmer on your roster, or Tom Savage on your roster. Like, you don't want that. And I know Belichick was mad at the Patriots for trading away Jacoby Brissett, which was the black quarterback who was the third-string quarterback. He went to Indianapolis. And Jimmy Garoppolo, we all know, Jimmy G, or Jimmy GQ, as some people call him, is currently the San Francisco 49ers quarterback. And so this has basically left Bill Belichick with nothing if something happens to Tom Brady or he decides to retire at the end of this year. And I know that Bill Belichick is not happy that he has no quarterback if something happens to Tom Brady. And so, this could be his way. Now, I'm not saying Tom Brady had anything to do with trading the quarterback, but as Andre and Courtney alluded to, there's been a lot of strife with this doctor, and I believe that maybe the straw that broke the camel's back was the fact that Bill Belichick has no other quarterback outside of Tom Brady. So I believe that Bill Belichick got rid of the doctor because of everything that Courtney and Andre said. But I also believe that in the back of his mind, he wanted to show Tom Brady that you're not untouchable in this organization. That ultimately it comes down to me if you play or not. If I want to get rid of your best friend, I'll do it, and nobody's going to question me because I'm Bill Belichick. And so I believe this is kind of a check on Tom Brady. And so I believe that, I definitely believe that there's friction that I do believe that there's trouble in paradise in New England. And I believe that it will come to a head before 2018 is over. And I believe it will either end with Bill Belichick getting a couple more quarterbacks in there and not to suddenly let Tom Brady know that your time is over. You got about 1 or 2 more seasons before I get rid of you. Or I believe that it'll ultimately end up with Tom Brady retiring. Because it wouldn't be the first time that somebody was forced to retire, a la Brett Favre. So, we'll see what happens, but there's definitely friction there. So moving right along, we kind of question number 4. We'll come back to that one. But so guys, let's start with a debate that we can rage on, and I'll start with this. Our question number 4, but would be our question number 5. Who is the MVP of the NFL this season? I'll start. So I believe the MVP of the NFL is somebody who we have already talked about on this program, and some people might call me a homer, but you know what? He is the most valuable player. he still leads the league in touchdowns and yards. I believe that our young player is my quarterback. That second year domino, that second year dynamo, not domino, dynamo. Carson Wentz, not only because he leads the league in touchdown, but because you have seen what the Eagles look like without offensively without him. Now Nick Foles is a good quarterback, God bless his soul, but the Eagles were like an offensive juggernaut with Carson Wentz. Everything worked with Carson Wentz. The run game worked. Zach Ertz worked. Not that he doesn't work now. Alshon Jeffrey was getting passes when he really shouldn't have been getting passes, but Carson Wentz was just that. His development is just that good this year, and I believe that really is. Oh, what's up, Matt? It really is. The MVP of the league this year is really Carson Wentz for me. And some people may say no, it's Todd Gurley because of what he did. He's a late comer because for real, if you notice, all the options for MVP this year, besides Russell Wilson, are all injured, and it's very troubling that everybody's injured. Like not just Carson Wentz, but another MVP candidate in Houston, Deshaun Watson, my namesake, might even be my cousin. I don't think so, but we're gonna run with that because his last name is also Watson. Deshaun Watson. There's a couple of people that were just. This is a very injury-riddled season in the NFL. But for me, it's Carson Wentz because of, like I said, he's a league leader in touchdowns. You see what the Eagles look like. And the most valuable player, as we've seen in the NBA, doesn't necessarily have to be the person that's on the field. Some people think it's Tom Brady. I believe it's Carson Wentz because to me, for, 12 or 13 games this year, Carson Wentz was the best quarterback in the league. He's the best quarterback in the league. And I believe that the most valuable player is the best quarterback. And if numbers and stats dictate it, then if we're going with that, then it's Carson Wentz. Hands down, Carson Wentz is the NFL MVP. I don't care that he's not going to play the remaining 5 games in the season or however many games are left, depending on how long the Eagles make it in the playoffs. I don't care. He is the MVP of the league. Fight me. MVP of the league at Kyler W. Watson. Go ahead, Andre. Dre, you there?
Yeah, my fault. I think. What I tell you before, Colin, you are a smart man, and I'm so proud of you and all you're accomplishing. And I have to totally, 100%, 1,000% agree with you. If you ain't talking about Carson, what you talking about? Like, there is no league right now that's had a huger impact on his team than Carson Wentz. Believe me, just take a look at Nick Foles and the production of the Eagles. It's a point drop. Huge. The plays being produced like they were being produced when Carson was in there. More. Nobody, including me. I expected the Eagles to do well. I didn't expect them to do this well. Or not on this scale, like with just leading the charge. Like, this dude's like a veteran. He doesn't look like a sophomore, I tell you that. He's not going through a sophomore slump like we know Des Bryant is going through. Hands down, it's Carson Wentz.
Courtney, Matt's going last.
So coming into this, I was all for Carson Wentz because, yeah, Carson Wentz has had a great season. Reiterate everything that Kylan and Jay just said. However, to play devil's advocate, throw in a little bit of a dark horse here. So doing my research or whatever for the show, it looks like Antonio Brown of the Steelers, can't believe I just said Steelers, but Antonio Brown and the Steelers might actually have a shot, which would be history making apparently, because a wide receiver has never won MVP of the league. Who knew? Not I, but Antonio Brown has had a great season thus far. He's on track to potentially hit 2,000 yards for this year, which would be another record breaker. He has recently shot up in the polls for MVP, and he's just had a dynamite year. So I think especially if we see another Steelers Patriots match off and Antonio Brown kills it, then I think he has a great shot of beating out Brady, beating out Wentz, and essentially clinching that spot as the first wide receiver MVP. And I'm all about making history, even if it is a Steelers player, but he is a great player. So that's my little dark horse for the night.
Amina?
Yeah, I feel as though that Carson Wentz, in spite of the fact that he's on injury leave, that he deserves MVP. He leads in touchdowns for the league this season. Remarkable things. He just ran through the season up until he got injured. A very successful run. And there's nothing much else to say. I mean, y'all tackled it, but he truly does deserve it. I mean, I hope he gets it. And hopefully he bounces back for next season and has an even better season for his third year. But I believe Carson Wentz deserves it.
All right. And now we're gonna hear from Mr. Controversy himself. Man.
All right, here you go. As far as this MVP debate is concerned, it is true. It is true that everybody and their mom has been hurt. Everyone and their mom, okay? Antonio Brown's been hurt. Carson Wentz has been hurt. It's the NFL. You're going to get hurt in some way, shape, or form. Unfortunately, that is the nature of the beast. With that being said, part of me wants to say, you know what? Tom Brady's going to be in that discussion regardless. I think Todd Gurley is also can be another person that could be in the discussion, because frankly, as far as the way he's been running the football this year has been phenomenal. But you see the drop off with the Eagles as far as Wentz under center and Foles under center. So there's a little bit of a drop off. You cannot deny that. With that being said, if I were to say, okay, who would be my MVP right now? It's not Carson Wentz. It's just not. I'm sorry. I mean, if anything, I hate to say it. It'll have to be Brady. Here's why. It'll have to be Brady. Here's why. The fact that team, with however moving parts in the system, you talk about Coach Hoodie and everything else in that system, I will have to give it to Brady. I have to give it to Brady as of right now. Barring if I see anything or read anything different, that will sway my.
I'm sorry.
Oh boy! Oh boy!
I gotta interrupt. I just got one question for you. Which team has the better record?
Man, look, the Eagles have a better record, which is true.
And that's why. Why do the Eagles have a better record? Because of who?
It's because of Wentz.
Okay.
There's no disagreeing with that. But with now with pretty much 12, 13 games of work, there's an argument that could be had there. But since that, take injuries aside and everything else, right now, if you want to give it to the most healthiest man in the business right now, it will have to be Brady, if you're looking at health. But of an overall thing, I'll have to take Carson Wentz. But if I'm looking from a health standpoint, so I'm taking Brady.
Yeah,
Look,
no, I understand. I'm just saying listen, you're basically saying it's Brady by default because everybody's injured. That's what you're saying.
basically, if I'm looking from a health standpoint, Todd Gurley is not
Which is
that far
ludicrous.
behind.
That's
You know,
straight
look, I know it's straight ludicrous. I know I'm senile. I've been drinking too much juice down here. It is what it is. But
You
I'll
must
throw
be
this,
drinking that Ike juice.
or I could throw this wrinkle. I could throw this one at you. How about Drew Brees? How about Drew Brees? Shouldn't he be in the same talk of the MVP consideration as Brady or Gurley? What would Drew Brees? Just putting it out there. What about Drew Brees? I mean, we all know the caliber.
Why not Cam Newton? Why don't we throw other quarterbacks that don't even have double-digit records?
Russell Wilson. You throw Russell Wilson in the conversation, but he's not MVP because, frankly, he's the offense. He's the offense. That's it. And then it's games that should have been won but lost.
Hey man, what about Case Keenum, dog? We might as well listen. There's a dark horse. I'm throwing my dark horse. Case Keenum for MVP.
Case Keenum, you done lost your mind about some Case Keenum. Case Keenum is basically he is who he is, a backup quarterback at this point. Now, do not see Case Keenum winning no doggone MVP because remember it was Sam Bradford who was the number one quarterback before he got hurt, and then this Case Keenum comes in. Look where he at right now. I mean, you have to give credit to that coaching staff, but I'm sorry, I cannot give the Case Keenum. You done lost your mind. You done lost every brain cell you got so far. You may have lost a few, but not all of them.
Listen, it's it's the year of the backup quarterback. So why not give it to a backup quarterback? It's the year of the backup quarterback. You can't deny that. But right now we're having a sports show within a sports show. Go ahead.
But look, I'm gonna say as of right now, it's not by default. I'm just looking at it from a health standpoint. It would be Brady as of now. As of right now. That's what I'm thinking. But overall body work, I'm thinking Wentz. But health, thinking Brady.
Okay, I can respect that. All right, moving on to our next thing, guys. This is where we're gonna get into the 2017-2018 portion of the show. Unless some news just breaks, and I have my news hawks watching to tell me if there's any news that breaks. If suddenly somebody finds a heart and sends and gives Colin Kaepernick a job, or if Robert Mueller breaks some news and sends an indictment tonight before midnight hits, something like that. That's the only way this show is not going to continue on time and not be derailed. So moving right along. All right, guys, you've all had your time to look. So what was the best sports story of 2017? I'll start. For me, the best sports story of 2017 was the team that, most people know that I'm not Mr. Baseball, but I'm going to go into Matt's niche, and Matt knows straight where I'm going. I'm going to the city of Houston, which had a lot of ups and downs this year, losing Deshaun Watson, half the city still being in recovery and still being underwater because of what was it? Harvey, because of Hurricane Harvey. Can't believe I just missed that. Steve Harvey, Hurricane Harvey. My bad. Hurricane Harvey, and everything else. I'm going with those boys from Houston, the Houston Astros. As my mother would say, those corn-fed boys down south, winning the World Series for the first time in their history with with a star player who's as tall as I am. I think I'm a little bit taller than him. Jose Altuve and those boys winning the World Series. I was getting ready to say Super Bowl. Wrong sport. Winning a World Series. The best sports story when they had everything against them. When the Dodgers were coming back, the Dodgers had that pitching, and they still won the way you should win off of good hits and good pitching and consistent pitching. Best sports story of 2017, the Houston Astros winning the World Series. Go ahead, Matt.
And you took that one from me, but I agree with you on that one. As far as the top story of 2017, you took that from me. But I'll go number 2 on my list. And it hurts my heart. It pains me to say. It kicks me in my gut. It just makes me go, Matthew Mack, you need to just okay. One thing you do not do when you have a 28-3 lead, okay, is throw the ball, throw the ball, throw the ball, throw the ball, throw the ball. You don't do that.
At Small Red Horn, Atlanta Falcons fans. At Small Red Horn, not at Colin.
Go Matt.
Full. I'm being honest with you. Watching the first half of that game, the Atlanta Falcons were in control. In any game, any textbook game, when you have a pretty much a 4-score lead, you sit on the football. You sit on it. You run the football. You manage the clock for all it's worth. Yes, you have 30 minutes left to go in the second half of a football game, but you do not, under any circumstances, throw the football when you have a 4-score lead. You don't do it. And I don't know what it is. What happens. It's like the textbook way of coaching football goes hard on the wayside somehow. I mean, Pete Carroll's one of them. Run the football. If you ran the football, everybody in their mouth wouldn't be putting up these 28-3 memes, okay? Yes, it was a very exciting Super Bowl, and one of the biggest comebacks in Super Bowl history, and the first overtime in Super Bowl history. I mean, it's great theater, but I don't give a rat's ass about those damn advertisers. Them advertisers can go straight to hell as far as I'm concerned. This is a football game, a game for all the marbles. And as far as I'm concerned, those advertisers go to hell. But there's one thing you don't do is the fact that you do not throw the football and let them back in the game. We have a 28-3 lead, unless you give up 31 unanswered points. Unacceptable. That's why the New Orleans Saints last game had they put up, what they did was during halftime a group came out and put in a formation, put up 28-3. I mean, you are the laughing stock of the National Football League. I'm sorry, if you're the Atlanta Falcons, you better get your ass back in the playoffs so you can avenge that loss. But you know what? Who knows? They might be out.
Before Andre goes, let me just say this, and I can say this and I can say this. Nobody's blown a lead. Well, nobody still has blown a lead that big in sports, but nobody blows a 20-plus point lead other than the Falcons and the Philadelphia 76ers. And if you've been watching the games, you know what I'm talking about. Go ahead, Andre. Andre, you there? Dre, you there?
Yeah. What was the question? I'm sorry, Phil.
The best sports story of 2017.
And you better pay attention next time, or else I'll put my foot up your where. Ask that question one more time, and you better pay attention too. Get on my nerves, man.
You go Matt.
Go play with the baseball.
I know you didn't get no. Oh, by the way, I will talk about that. I will talk about that signing with the Phillies play. You better pay attention. I got baseball bats,
The best sports
baseball
story.
bat.
The best sports story of 2017. I still have to say, should I do it? I think I should do it. It's got to be the Eagles. They are the team. So far, the team of destiny. I mean, just look at how they win games. It's amazing that like the offense didn't show up one week, then defense shows up. The special teams show up one week. I mean, they're blocking field goals and and then, like teams are like deflated like after they not like the Patriots, but we are leaving teams scratching their head, except for like the Kansas City Chiefs and what's they face Seahawks. So I think they're the best story of 2017, and they've riled up this city. This city is on fire, and everybody's wearing Eagles gear everywhere you go. Like you just walk in places, and you just like walk into an Eagles conversation. You walk into a Super Bowl conversation. Like it's the atmosphere. It's got more people talking, more people feeling. It's more feeling like proud. It's amazing what sports can do to a city. It really is. It gives us that scapegoat right now with the president we have, because all he represents is the 1%. But what your social economics background and all that always is, do you love, or you believe, you have the faith? So hands down, to me, the story is the Eagles season.
Courtney?
So I guess for me, my greatest sports moment of the year is not really sports related. It's kind of sports adjacent. And it would be the NFL, the taking the knee during the national anthem protests that throughout the NFL. And while like, yes, it did kind of fizzle out, and yes, they didn't quite achieve everything that they wanted. I just, for me, kind of watching everyone, a lot of the players come in solidarity and watch kind of how that kind of sputtered out into other sports, and even kind of like seeing like some like team owners come out there and like kind of have some solidarity with their players. Whether or not that was a PR stunt is neither here nor there at this point. But I think just kind of like watching that solidarity and like watching NFL players realize that like they have a bigger role in this country and in this world than like just being sports players, that they do have a platform to take a stand and to like protest and to bring something on the national stage that is worthwhile bringing out, and then actually like doing that against the backlash of the fans and 45 and some team owners who like weren't really a fan of it, but kind of sticking up and standing up and being like, no, like this is wrong and we want to say something, like that's just kind of heartwarming a little bit, especially in a year like 2017 where it has been so divisive and there has been so much going on. Just kind of watching these players kind of step up to the plate a little bit and be a little bit more socially conscious. That for me is probably the biggest sports story for me this year.
Amina?
Yeah, for 2017 sports moment, I have two stories. First, I have to commend the Houston Astros for accomplishing something that Houston, Texas has never experienced before as far as their Major League Baseball team, and that is winning their very first World Series. I have to really congratulate them. They ran the Dodgers out of there, and they got the win. The Houston Astros, they went into this season with one goal in mind and one goal only, and they accomplished their mission. And now they have the city's very first World Series win. So I have to congratulate them for that. And in spite of the, the crazy year they've had as far as this summer with Hurricane Harvey, how it ripped up a whole lot of the city. So many people are still out of their homes, and it truly brought a silver lining at the end of the tunnel for the people of Houston. It gave them some hope, and it gave them something to smile about. And in fact, in spite of this crazy year, that's been going on all over the globe. So I have to also congratulate them with that. So may they be blessed to accomplish a second World Series in the years to come. Second one is a personal one near and dear to my heart. Anybody that knows me knows that I'm a Golden State Warriors fan for life. My guys have my team won their fifth NBA Finals championship, and which is our second one in the modern era this year. But we had a very, very, very historic season this past season, where we finished the regular season with a 67-15 record. We went to the playoffs just running through rounds. Like, we only lost one game during the entire playoffs. So it was historic. No team in NBA history up until this past season with us went undefeated minus one game. That was historic. The team, we went into this season just about angry due to how the finals went in 2016 with the Cavaliers winning. So it was our redemption year. We bounced back, and it was beautiful just watching how the season unfolded for us. And we won the finals as well, undefeated minus one game. And it's truly remarkable how this team of basically young players, they have the hearts and the guts to win. I mean, they live up to their name. They're warriors. How they took care of business. They were not playing no games with no one, and they just went out there and won. And right now we're still number one in the West. So hopefully we win our sixth title this coming June. But it's truly remarkable how a team could accomplish so much in a redemption year, basically going undefeated minus one game in the playoffs, something that has never been seen in NBA history. So I got to give it to my guys, Golden State Warriors. And thank you for having morals and standing your ground and not going to visit Donald Trump at the White House, because that showed that you all stuck to your guts and had your principles in check. So I got to give it to the Houston Astros and Golden State Warriors for my favorite sports moments of 2017.
All right, so moving right along, and I know Matt and Andre will be used to this, what I'm about to say. So this time limit should be appropriate. This is not the first time PSC-ism has been put into this podcast. 2 minutes or less, y'all.
Yo, what's good, everybody? It's Chris. God. How you doing? How everybody doing? What's good? What's good? What's going on? How is everybody doing? Andre, you good?
Chris.
Oh Lord.
Matt, what's up? I know he's the only one with the Phillies.
What's good? How you doing? Get out.
I'm blessed. Courtney, how you doing?
Oh Lord.
I'm good. How are you?
I'm blessed and highly favored, trying to live my life, finessing.
Oh God. This is my brother Chris. Y'all who listen to this podcast, y'all know when he home, he be trying to invade. So we gonna
everybody love when I invade the podcast. That's where your views come from.
Bye,
they
Chris.
wait for me.
Bye, DJ. So anyway, yeah, so that's my brother Chris. Check him out. Bless Watson. He gonna invade anyway. But
that's what little brothers do. You love him.
I have to. But moving on to our next question, 2 minutes or less, especially this question, because I know we have nobody in this podcast has any love for the NCAA. So this is a question where I especially ask y'all to stick to the 2 minute time limit. I know that we could kill the NCAA all day, and we've done it on this podcast. We've shot them up more times than I can remember. But so to our next one, will we see the NCAA make changes and pay the players in 2018? I'll start. No, because NCAA doesn't feel like they need to. Even with LeVar Ball starting a league and Ed McCaffrey and Mike Shanahan and a couple of others starting a semi-pro football league, I do not think they will pay the players. I want them to. I would love for the NCAA to turn around and pay the players, but I don't think they will. And this is me saying that I think they're gonna need more competition. I think you're gonna need like people like big names like LeBron James to say, "All right, y'all, I'm starting a league and I'm paying everybody $10,000 or $20,000 to play and not go to college." You're gonna need Cam Newton to do that for football too. Like you're gonna need big names in each and every sport to do that in order to force the NCAA to pay the players. That's what I think. And so I don't think we're going to see that in 2018 unless more athletes stand up and say, "All right, I'm going to put my resources together financially to force the NCAA to pay the players." I feel like that's the only way that we'll see that in 2018. And who knows? Maybe that's coming. Maybe Cam Newton during the offseason will say, "I'm starting my own league." Maybe that's what will happen. Maybe LeBron James will do that at the offseason. Who knows? But that's what it's going to take for them to pay the players. Go ahead, Matt.
I'm sorry, let me tell you right now, I'm trying to keep it short as possible. The NCAA is the NCAA. They're going to do what they're going to do, how they're going to do it, when they're going to do it. So paying the players is a great idea, but it seems as though that Mr. Ball here wants to make his own league and pay his players $10,000 or whatever the case may happen. Okay, fine, well, daddy. But at the end of the day, the NCAA will not pay his players. They should be paying their players. I've made my case about this time and time again because of how they exploit these young athletes and pretty much with all these pretty much whoring these youth out for their proprietary monetary gain. But that's a whole other discussion for a whole other day. So I'm gonna say this once and one time only. Yes, the NCAA should pay their players, but they're not going to because frankly they have too much money invested in whatever it is these schools want to do with said money. So I think this money can be invested in different ways and other ways and just here let's throw some education out your way just using it for advertising spots. You know what I'm saying? I think more can be done for these players, particularly one and doneers, particularly. So I think it should be done. Recruiting has to be changed, and it's a whole slew of things. But the NCAA will not. They're not gonna pay the players. They're not gonna do it. So if these outside forces such as Ball and others want to form a league and to bring in talent to where so hey, you know what? You want to get paid? You get paid now. This is America. It is what it is. Come join us. I have nothing against it. None whatsoever. Moving on.
Before Andre goes, let me just say this to add to the point. If you can pay Kendrick Lamar to do your halftime show for one of the games coming up this weekend, you can pay the players. Go ahead, Andre. Andre, you there?
Off the snot again.
All right. Go ahead, Courtney. I don't know what happened to Dre.
He lost his stupor.
Do I hope the NCAA pays their players? Of course, because they deserve to be paid. Do I think they are in a capitalist society? Absolutely not. They make too much money as it is, and until the issue actually starts to hurt them in their wallets, i.e., we have some other pre-professional leagues coming up, or people start to kind of boycott the NCAA or something like that, where they actually start losing money, they have no incentive to pay their players. They have no incentive economically. They have no incentive in terms of the way the league's set up. They really don't really have much of an incentive legally, because these players are considered amateurs, and that kind of gets them out of having to pay them. So unfortunately, I do not think these young college kids will be getting paid next year, but hopefully we will eventually see the tide turning in that area.
Amina?
NCAA and playing. Oh, sorry about that. The NCAA paying players. No, I don't think they're going to get paid, especially like right now. Maybe even in the future, if those who are running the NCAA wake up and realize what needs to be done. But the NCAA is what it is. I mean, they have convictions against paying the players. But my thing is, they need to get paid. I mean, they have lives, they have phone bills to pay, they got their little expenses on these college and university campuses. And not everyone's going to get a work study job. Not everyone's going to get an off campus job. So some type of income. It doesn't have to be a lot, but it has to be something. I mean, they're giving basically all of their time, free time, away for practices, games, travel, and just that and the third to represent a school that doesn't even want to pay them. So it would behoove the NCAA to come to terms and come to some type of agreement to give them some stipend. I would like to see that happen because they do deserve it. I mean, not a big NFL contract, of course, but something tangible where they're just not playing for free. So hopefully those that can make those shots can come to the table to make that happen. But I see it maybe happening as time goes on, but not right now. It's going to be a gradual progression thing.
Okay. So moving right along to our. Oh, hold on. Let me try Andre again. Andre, there? Nope. Okay. So moving right along, we're gonna go to our next question. Do we think there will be more sports figures taken down by the Me Too movement or by the anthem protest? Now, to this day, just to split it out, the people that have been taken down by the Me Too movement and their own racial stupidity. Bill Richardson, the owner of the Carolina Panthers. The reason why we want hashtag Team Diddy to buy the Panthers. And who else? As far as the anthem protest, Jerry Jones, Bob McNair, a little bit Roger Goodell, just a little bit. So that's the sides of who's been taken down by what. So do we think more sports figures will be taken down by the Me Too movement or by the anthem protest? Oh yeah, Me Too, Donovan McNabb, Marshall Faulk, and a lot of people on the NFL Network. Since this has to do with the Me Too movement, we're gonna start with. We'd be remiss if we didn't start with the ladies. So we're gonna start with the ladies. So go ahead. Amina.
Yeah, I believe in 2018, like me and you have talked about and off air numerous times about it. I think this is just the beginning. It's been a really crazy year how people have been exposed, entertainment figures, sports figures, as well as political figures that we all know and grew up knowing who they are, got exposed for their private deeds that came to light. So this is only the beginning. I mean, it just started this year with the major exposure. In 2018, we're gonna see a whole lot more. the rape culture is not being tolerated in society anymore with sexual harassment, misconduct, and sexual assault. Women are liberated now. We're free to actually discuss the matters that have happened to us in our lives, open with those that matter the most to us. Where in previous times in society, women had to be suppressed and had their trauma shunned and pushed under the rug. So it's a great opportunity for discussions and much needed healing to happen. But this is only the beginning. People are no longer going to be able to do or say things to people and just get away with it. It's not happening in this day and age. So yes, the Me Too movement is going to expand and it's going to grow. And as more people get exposed, we're going to be seeing a whole lot of shakeups. People's careers going to be done, and people are going to have to just pay up, you know. But as the saying goes, what's done in the dark comes to the light, and hey, this is the time for the light. So that's what I have to say about that.
Okay. Courtney?
Oh yeah, this is just the beginning. I mean, sexual assault, sexual harassment is way more pervasive than we think it is or care to think that it is. And given the cultural moment that we're in, and the whole Me Too movement, and the fact that women are coming out and society as a whole is believing them and taking action against their harassers and assaulters, just gives more women that courage and power that they need to come out and be like, this happened to me too. And a lot of the reasons why people don't come out about sexual assault, sexual harassment from the jump is because they're afraid they're not going to be believed. They are afraid they're not going to have the support they need to, really come after their assaulter. And in the moment that we're in, they have that cover now. They have everything they need. They have all the power and support they need to come out and come forward and tell their stories. I think it's just a matter of time before we hear more stories on this movement. So.
All right, Matt. Unless Andre's back. Andre, you there?
Where Andre go?
Who knows? I have no idea. Go ahead. It's on you. It's on you, Matt.
I already said my piece about this as far as what's been going on with all these situations that's been taken over, particularly with how women are being treated these days. Taken down by the Me Too movement, I don't think look, it's a culture that needs to be changed. That's where we are right now. It's a culture that needs to be changed, particularly for us as men. To say that it does not exist, excuse me for a second. To say that it does not exist would be lying to ourselves. This has been going on in every business it's been going on for far too long when it comes to women. This has been going on far too long as far as people of color and what we have as people of color have gone through for centuries. And we have a man here that's in the White House as we speak that's pretty much been in the midst of the whole thing. Talking about it.
Hold on to it, man. Hold on to it, man. I don't know if you've seen question number 11, but it's coming up. We're going to get to 45. It's coming, man. We're going to get to him and his tweets. We're going to do it, man. We're going to get to it.
I ain't touching that tweet yet. Oh, I'm not touching that tweet. Oh, no. I'm talking about the crotch grabbing tape. I'm talking about those SOBs should be fired from the NFL and everything else. It has the cap movement is not a loss in my book. It's not a loss. It's a start because action has to be done. Sometimes standing there ain't enough. Screaming is not enough. Action is where it's taking place. The Me Too movement is another thing because it's action based. Okay, you have to speak up. Say I've been screwed. I mean, that's one thing. And then you have this Kaepernick situation, which by the way I think he'll be signed by next year. It's a bigger thing. You're facing a system. Both of them are systems in its own right, but you're facing a system, and we're now finally, as a people, are coming and trying to break down the system in any way, shape, or form, because there's injustices everywhere, and it must be taken care of. Now, you can see here say, how unfortunate the situation is. I'm sick and tired of hearing it. But action has to be done. And unfortunately, some people may have lost their jobs, some of higher power or the like. However, I think conversations needs to be or has been starting already. And not just for the Me Too movement and the Colin Kaepernick Raise Your Fist movement, but everything else has been started. And you can see you're saying even 1 for 45, we won't be in this mess. But here we are. So I'm gonna keep this short because I'm sick. Honestly, I'm sick and tired of it. But with something that needs to be addressed, it's all about action, not just standing there and screaming, yelling, raising your fist and everything, which is all well and good. You bringing attention to it. But now action has to be done. You may disagree with Malcolm Jenkins and whatever, stopping his protest, make it pay, but at least, in my view, he went up to Harrisburg, talked to legislative officials and elective legislative. I can't think of the word right now. Pretty much government officials up in Harrisburg and the like to at least see what can be done at a local level and state level to start there, because literally anything can happen just off of that alone and that involvement with government. And also with the Me Too movement, it changes the course of how a culture needs to be changed. And this is no longer, a chauvinistic culture. It has to change.
I don't really have nothing to add as far as, because everybody just killed this topic. But what I'm going to say is this: it's unfortunate that, as Matt said, we have to, because we're not just battling. We're not just battling people's actions, but people's actions are a larger symptom of the culture. And for the longest time since this country was founded, this country was founded on the isms, man, on sexism, on racism, on just, and some people gonna hate me for saying it, at Colin W. Watson if you got something to say about it. But yeah, this country was founded on sexism and racism, like the two big isms. That's what it was founded on. Because in a society like this, in order for the society to work, and a lot of people may not like it, but this is the truth of the way this society in this country was founded. Somebody has to be kept down in order for the larger society to keep on pushing. So, and it's a shame, but that's what it is. And the Me Too movement, as Matt said, and Colin Kaepernick's Take a Knee movement, is all just reactions to being kept down in some way. for women, man, I don't need to tell. I'm not a woman, but I see it all the time. It's hard to be a woman, especially a black woman, in a very, as Matt said, chauvinistic culture. You have to not only watch your tone, you have to watch how you dress because you don't want to be whistled at. People come at you in all different ways, all different sorts of things, and as a black man, black men are like an endangered species. So it's just reactive. But a lot of people were taken down by both of these movements, and it just shows that as a culture we have a long way to go, and as a country we have a long way to go. And that's just what it is. The Me Too movement and the Take a Knee movement is not stopping. Now it's both are working its way down, and it's just going to be 2018 will be the year of, to me, the Me Too movement and Take a Knee. And Take a Knee may take another form in 2018, but it's still going to be the year of these two movements because the reckoning is not over with both of these movements. It's just beginning, as Amina said. So moving right along, the best championship team of 2017. Okay, I'll start. For me, the best championship team of 2017, I already took the Astros out of it by saying they were the best sports story. So the best championship team, or for me, I'm going to make it teams because it's basically the same thing. We talked about redemption in 2017. 2017 was the redemption year. I think I wrote an article about this, a couple of articles. And the two redeemed teams I'm talking about are the two in college sports. Matt is going to hate me for saying this, but I'm going to say this team. I know he doesn't like this team because he's from South Carolina, but the Clemson Tigers and what they had to come through this year by overcoming the juggernaut that is in Alabama, all thanks to my cousin, to my cousin that shares the same last name as me, even though he's not actually my cousin, but my last name cousin. Deshaun Watson leading the Clemson Tigers down on one final drive to beat the Alabama Crimson Tide. Nick Saban's kryptonite, a mobile black quarterback, and what he did. And UNC, even though it was against Gonzaga and not against Villanova, UNC, man, coming back after that devastating loss last year, the year before that, and just coming back and winning the title on a mission, as I said they would, on a mission. Clemson and USC, the championship teams of 2017, and everything they had to overcome. Go ahead, Matt.
I'm going to pull Andre. What did you say again?
The best championship team of 2017. Or teams, because I said two teams.
Let me tell you something. If you have not if you have not watched the World Series from Game 1 to Game 7, you missed out on, I think, one of the greatest well-played series I've ever seen. The Houston Astros and the Los Angeles Dodgers are one of the best teams in baseball. 1-2. You got it. And the way the Astros played that series was literally, in my opinion, one of the best I've ever seen. Give credit to the Dodgers. Because I took the Dodgers to win the 7. The game was going to go to 7, but I thought the Dodgers were going to win it because of Clayton Kershaw and their bullpen. But what won it for the Astros was Maeda. Maeda was not himself for some reason. Imagine it's one of those what if questions in that series. What if Maeda pitched well in his 2 starts against the Astros? What if Clayton Kershaw didn't bomb against the Astros in, I think it was Game 4, I believe it was. Game 4, Game 5. What if he didn't bomb that game? There's so many what ifs. What if Verlander's performance was, could have been better? There's so many questions. But the Astros was a balanced team up and down. And you have to remember, they got Verlander after the trade deadline, which is weird in baseball, but they got him after the trade deadline before their waiver trade deadline. And that's put, by getting Justin Verlander, put that team over the top. It really did. So, it made the Astros a better team because of it. And to me, the Astros are better, better chance. They're the best championship team I've seen. And 1A would be the Dodgers, because that series could go on, and we don't know who could win the series. So, literally, I would take the Dodgers over that. I know what's her name over in Oaklandville, over in Philly somewhere is going to take Golden State. What I'm gonna leave that alone.
Excuse me.
But I will take the Houston Astros #1. I want to give the National Predators credit, but the Pens won it, but I'm not going to go there. So I'll take the Astros. Yeah, I went after your Golden State Warriors. Yes, I did.
Well, Amina already picked Golden State for the sports story question, so she got to pick another championship team. She's going to have to pick one. Go ahead, Courtney.
Well, I purposely did not say this during the other question because I wanted to save this team for the best championship team, which is the Houston Astros. Like, it's just a great story, their first championship for Houston baseball, and then on top of everything that Houston as a city has gone through, just to watch their team come through with this great victory. I guess people can argue with me if you want, but I don't know how you can really pick another team this year for that story. So that's my pick.
Amina?
Yeah, I'm going with the Astros and my Warriors, and y'all know why. But like I said with the previous question, the Astros, they really showed up and showed out. They had one mission and one mission only, and that was to get the city's first MLB World Series title, and they did that. So, and with that being said, congratulations, Houston, and to my guys out there in Oakland, the Golden State Warriors. Congratulations this year for winning the finals and the playoffs, both undefeated minus one game. Something that has never been done before in NBA history. So, congratulations.
All right, we're moving right along. Unless am I going to try Andre? Andre, you there? Oh, all right, moving right along. All right, guys, what was the best comeback story in sports in 2017? And I'll start again. So Matt alluded to this already at Kylan W. Watson. You got a problem with it, but I got to say, even though I really don't like this team, but as Matt said, this has never been done before, a comeback of this epic proportion. And I have to give it to him. And like I said before, this adds to my thing. Put my argument from a lot of podcasts ago where I said football comes down to luck. That's why I don't really like football, because it's the ultimate luck sport. And it's and you can fight me over that if you think I'm wrong. But this team that I'm about to mention, something that's never been done before, that requires luck and idiocy from the Atlanta Falcons, the New England Patriots. I'm not belittling the victory. I'm just saying they needed a lot of luck. Rely on the Atlanta Falcons being stupid and not running the ball and getting lucky on a lot of different things. But I got to give it to them, the New England Patriots. The New England Patriots finally won a Super Bowl, some would say without cheating, and all it took was being down 31 points or 25 points. So, the I got to go with the New England Patriots for obvious reasons, because they literally came back from being down by a horrible margin, and they just were the best comeback team. And since this is probably the last time I'll be able to say it, I'll also go with Amina's Golden State Warriors, because they also, just like the Patriots, had to come back from something that everybody laughed at them for from 2016 to June 2017, which was losing to the Cavaliers after having a 3-2 lead. But the Golden State Warriors, they shut everybody up. Kevin Durant proved that he wasn't a cupcake. So the two best comeback stories, but the one being most important, the Patriots, because of how they literally came back from being down 25 points, and the Golden State Warriors. Go ahead, Matt.
Means coming into my neck right now. Look, tweeting about the NBA. Do we need another Stay in Lane podcast? Colin, do we need another Stay? You know what? Yes, we need another Stay in Lane podcast. 45.
Behave, you two. This be the best parts of the show, but behave. Behave, you. Wait. Keep it in your Facebook inboxes until next week.
Look, the fact of the matter is, we're talking about 45, right? Do this one.
We're on the best comeback story. The best comeback story.
Oh, yeah. Comeback story. I gotta say this to you. I gotta say this, right? The best comeback story was giving it to 45. That's the best comeback story I got so far. Really giving it to 45. Because my thing is simply this, okay? You want the owners to bow down to Mr. Almighty Trump. No. The biggest comeback was here's the middle finger, you can stick it to a sun don't shine, okay? Now that's a comeback I can live with. Albeit some of it was staged, Jerry Jones, owner of the Jaguars, just to name a few, was staged. I thought it was great. I thought it was awesome. I thought more defiance, more resistance. I loved it. It was great. It was awesome. It was more you can ask for. So you know what? If you want the biggest comeback story, it's that. It's the fact that okay, we may not agree with politics, whatever, but don't you ever step on this side of the grass ever again, because you do that, you're going to get bitten. You're going to get bitten with the dogs. Plain and simple.
Courtney?
I don't know if I have anything to add. I mean, I guess for me, one of the best, or one of the better comeback stories I enjoyed watching was UNC coming back from their horrible defeat last year to win the NCAA championship. And yes, it's not your traditional comeback story. I get that, but it's just kind of heartwarming to watch these college kids go from losing, which really hurts on national TV, to kind of coming back and winning it all. And that was just kind of great to watch. It's one of those great heartwarming stories. So I guess I'm gonna go with UNC.
Smart woman. Smart woman. Go ahead, Amina.
I don't have much to say. I mean, it's pretty a repeat of just previous comments I made, but the other two questions.
Okay. Moving right along to the one that Matt thought that we were on, but now we are on. Will 45, Captain Small Fingers, the commander in tweet. Will he tweet about the NBA in 2018? Go ahead, Matt.
He better not. He better not. President Twitler better put down that phone, put down wherever he got for where he's tweeting from, and don't even touch the National Basketball Association. He better not, because I guarantee you, burner accounts, and particularly Joel Embiid, it's gonna roast him. If I were you.
All right, Matt. Let's ask a question you really want me to ask, and this is just God right here. Do you think he'll have the balls? Do you think his balls will drop and he'll call LeBron and them SOBs like he did NFL players? Go ahead, go ahead. Let it go, man.
If he knows what's good for him, he better not. He better not. If you know what's good for him, because I'm telling you right now, if he does it, Black Twitter will have a field day. Not just NBA Twitter, Black Twitter, and a lot of other NBA teams is going to shoot back as well. So my thing is this: if you want to go on a Twitter war with NBA players, I'm gonna tell you right now, 45 will lose. Evidently he does not know how to, what's the term, pick your own battles. And so far he's been doing a very poor job of it, even though he's President Twitler. Look, stay in your lane, stay out of the sports way. You destroyed a football league already in the 80s, United States Football League. Yes, I know about that too. You destroyed everything you had your hands on. Right now, you're destroying my country. You were destroying it. So I want you to do Donald John Trump. Shut up. Stay out of the way. You got the National Football League, the National Hockey League, the National Basketball Association, Major League Soccer, and Major League Baseball. Stay out of the damn way. End of story. And if you do, I hope you're not in the way. But if you do, just be ready that a boatload of people on Twitter will steamroll your ass. Fair warning. Fair warning.
All right. For me, I definitely think he hasn't said nothing. He hasn't said nothing about the NBA since he came for Amina's favorite player, Steph Curry. So I doubt he's going to come for the NBA, but he might, depending on what happens and what team wins the Super Bowl. I know if it's the Eagles, I know they ain't coming, but we'll see. Will he tweet about the NBA? As Matt said, he better not if he knows what's good for him. But this is 45. He thinks he can do what he wants, so he probably will tweet about the NBA and say something disrespectful about the NBA. And I expect LeBron James, Joel Embiid, and Kevin Durant and Russell Westbrook to have a few words for him if he ever does it. Go ahead, Courtney.
I mean, yeah, he's probably gonna tweet about it. He can't help himself. Like, he tweets about everything, I feel like. So he's gonna say something at some point. What it is, who knows? Will it be as horrible or as offensive or as crazy as what he said about some of the NFL players during the anthem protest? Probably not, just because I don't think that would help him as much politically, because much of his base, I think, is more so NFL players than NBA players, although the NBA does have a wide following. I don't know. I feel like I see him tweeting at most about whatever team wins the NBA championship, not coming to the White House, and then him getting salty about it and tweeting something sort of rude, like, oh, you missed out on this great opportunity, da da da, blah, blah, whatever. But he's going to say something at some point because he can't help himself, because that's what he does.
All right, go ahead, Amina.
I have to agree with Matt and Courtney, what Matt said about how he better not, and Courtney saying he is like what he is, so to speak. Um, Depending on how 2018 goes with the NBA as far as individual players, what breaks in the media coming from individual teams, and how this and how the impact of Colin Kaepernick's movement has it like a trickle down effect in the NBA. That'll determine when and if DT goes on Twitter rampages, and it'll also determine what he says. Like Colin said, he's been silent on the NBA since he came from a man, Steph Curry. So, and people blew Donald Trump up after that. Like, you don't come for him. Like, you don't come for Steph Curry and you think that no one's gonna be silent about it. Like, no, there's a franchise point guard in the NBA. Don't mess with that. But I don't think he has the guts to truly say anything to anybody's face, and he's truly he's the president of the United States, but he's also putting division between himself and the sports world, where they should be happy and willing to go to the White House, but they're not, which is apparent because my guys won the finals back in June, and they're not going to the White House. So he's truly set up a division between himself and the NBA, and it's really unfortunate how everything he touches, as Matt said, he ruins. And check his record, check Donald Trump's record throughout the years of his life, where everything he has influenced has either been destroyed or in ruin. So, hey, he could come for somebody or a team in the NBA in 2018, and it's not going to be good, especially if it's a black player, because Black Twitter is going to be out for him, out for his head. So, better not.
Let me just say this before we move on to our last two questions. It's going to be short. But I don't think any team with a majority black players went to see him. I don't think UNC went. I think Clemson may have gone, but I can't remember. I know UNC didn't go. I know South Carolina's women's basketball team didn't go. Oh, by the way, that's an honorable mention. That was a good championship team too. South Carolina. Shouts out the Philly's own Dawn Staley. I know South Carolina didn't go. I know Golden State didn't go. I don't think Houston went. Matt can correct me if I'm wrong on that. Did the Astros go, Matt?
I'm not sure. I don't think they did, but I'm not sure.
All right. I guess it'd be easier if I named the teams that actually went in 2017.
In fact, usually World Series teams go during the baseball season, so they haven't gone yet.
Okay. So I know the Penguins went. We know the Patriots went. We know the Predators went. Hey, all three teams with P's in their names.
Actually, the Predators did not go because they lost the Stanley Cup Finals to the Pens.
Oh, sorry. Penguins went. I know the Patriots went. I don't know if the MLS soccer team went, and they probably didn't go yet. But yeah, we know at least two teams that went in 2017. But moving on to our next thing, to our last two questions. So, guys, for our last two questions of 2018. Will Colin Kaepernick have a job, or will he continue to be excommunicated from the NFL in 2018? Let's start with the ladies. Go ahead, Courtney.
Not looking so good. Excuse me. As much as I want Colin Kaepernick to have a job, I don't know, and it's. For me, it's kind of too hard to say. I think part of it will just kind of be what teams are in the hunt for a new quarterback once, Super Bowl and all that stuff happens. And part of it is just kind of like after the fallout with the owners and some of the coaches and a lot of the fans over the NFL protests this year, I don't know if any team is going to want to touch Kaepernick, because especially considering that he kind of got this whole ball rolling, and that's the whole reason why he's not in the NFL to begin with. So, I mean, unfortunately, I don't think it's looking good on the Kaepernick front.
Okay, go ahead, Amina.
There's a lot of factors in the Colin Kaepernick situation. Number one, as Courtney said, it's not looking good. And number two, physically, as far as physically, he's no longer working out to maintain a football player's body. He's basically let himself go as far as, when players leave the league as far as retirement or whatever. He's not even looking physically like he did anymore. So I highly doubt, hypothetically, even if he did get back in the NFL by chance, that he'd be able to be a successful player anymore at this point physically, unless he goes on an extreme regime where he builds his body mass back up. Number three, he has an open lawsuit against the NFL right now. When you have an open lawsuit against your former employer and you're trying to possibly get rehired, that doesn't happen. I mean,
especially Tom Brady.
That's Tom Brady. We're talking about Colin Kaepernick, Matt. With any job, if you're no longer employed but you're trying to come back, you got an open lawsuit against the company. I understand why he has the lawsuit, and I support the lawsuit, but company doesn't want a former employee to be rehired, and the former employee took them to court. Number four, teams, um, some owners and commissioners, their phone and email records have been subpoenaed, where they conspired to have it worked out this season where Colin Kaepernick was not signed. So it's not just with Colin Kaepernick in the NFL. It's just basically the entire organization that's out for witch hunt against them. Number five, he's in a different place in his life right now from where I view him. He's not so much in a desiring to. He says that he's ready to come back, that he's willing to if the opportunity were presented to himself. But I believe he's in a different spiritual path right now where football is no longer on his radar, where he's traveling um, all over the globe. He's going to different countries, talking to people. And number six, he's also, in reference to number five, in another place in his life. But also with that, he's more of an on a social activism career right now. And I've also believed that as time goes on, he's eventually going to start doing interviews. He's going to start writing books. He's going to start doing commencement addresses, hopefully, because graduation season is coming once again for high schools, colleges, and universities. So hopefully, at least one school invites him to speak. So it's a whole lot of factors going on in his life since 2016 when he started his movement that are against him being able to go back into the NFL. Now, like Kylan has said in previous podcasts, where Colin Kaepernick may possibly have one type of window open to him where he gets back in the NFL when his movement not necessarily dies all the way down. It won't die down ever, but when it's not so much as of a controversy anymore, where he may be in the NFL a few years from now. I mean, he's only 30 years old, so he's still young, but he may possibly, be welcomed back, when he's 33, 34, 35 years old. So he'll come back a different player by then if that happens. But we'll see. I mean, the off season starts in a matter of weeks after the Super Bowl. So we will see what goes on for him. But he also needs to address the public in some type of interview, televised interview, because it's 2 years later post the start of his movement, and he's yet to come forward and speak. So it's rather important now that the man behind the movement comes out and speaks and breaks the silence. So that would be greatly appreciated if he were to do that in 2018, where he has a sit down interview with a major network, not Fox News, but a major network, and just breaks the silence. Give a tell all. But there are factors as to why he's not in the NFL right now, and we'll see what happens with his career, whether he gets signed to a team or he retires and goes into broadcasting or other things.
I don't really have nothing to add after the ladies just took that question and just went in on it. I'm just gonna add that I think that for right now he's going to continue to be excommunicated, and I'm going to say that a large portion of that is the fact of not just that he, I think it would have been better for him had he just stayed in the NFL. But since the movement trickled down to the collegiate sports, I know we talked about my alma mater, Albright, and how it trickled down there. Had it not gone viral, like the German national soccer team kneeling and all this other stuff, I think it would have been better for him had it not trickled down outside of the NFL. But since it has, and it's drawn the attention of the President of the United States, I think he's going to continue to be excommunicated until he drops that lawsuit or until if he owns the Carolina Panthers, then they can't excommunicate him. But one of the to see the rest of my time to you.
Believe it or not, I'm gonna take the different approach. There are teams out there that desperately need a franchise Super Bowl quarterback. You can sit here and play the draft card all you want, all you like, but you know who you are. I'm talking to you, Cleveland. I'm talking to you, Arizona. You know who you are. You need a Super Bowl quarterback. I'm even talking to you, Buffalo. You need a Super Bowl quarterback. You need a quarterback to get you over the hump. And here is a man who is willing to give you, I don't know, an extra 2, 3, 4 wins, maybe. Right system, whatever the case may be. I think he may be back. It's up to him. I'm gonna keep it short, simple, straight to the point. I think he may be back. It's a long shot, but I think he'll be back because there's somebody out there, one of these franchises, and I'm talking to you, Cleveland. I'm talking to you. You know I'm talking to you. I'm talking to you, New York Jets. I'm talking to you too. And you need a quarterback. You know you need one. You desperately need one. Don't lie to yourself. I'm talking to you, San Francisco. Yeah, I know you have. I know you have your New England quarterback and everything else, but you need. Come on, let's be real here. Okay, he'll be back.
All right, so the last question of the podcast, the last question of 2017. What does the future hold for Philly sports in 2018? And for Courtney, what does the future hold for DMV sports? Let's start with our DMV correspondent. Go ahead, Courtney.
I don't know, to be honest. I could tell you. I feel like people make predictions about sports and things change and stuff happens and there's a surprise and the team in the Super Bowl who was up by 28 points all of a sudden loses. Like I just, I don't know, but I think it'll be an interesting year to see what happens. I wish I could give our listeners more, but that's pretty much all I got for you right now.
Okay. Go ahead. Go ahead, Matt. I know you're ready to go on the Philly sports, especially the Phillies and the Flyers. So go ahead.
I'm gonna make what's the name mad at me? Say that again.
Done with y'all. I'm done with y'all. What does the future hold for Philly sports in 2018? Or
Oh,
for
I'm glad you asked. First things first. Have you noticed the hot stove that's been bubbling in Citizens Bank Park? Have you noticed that the Phillies brought in a slugging first baseman? Oh, that could hit in a 2-hole, 3-hole basically.
I heard, I saw.
And the Phillies aren't done yet. So you have 4 outfielders that's going to jockey for time, including Rhys Hoskins. Okay, Rhys Hoskins. So I'm waiting for what this off season will do for the Phillies. I think they need another pitcher or two away to getting back into respectability. They are. So they traded Freddie Galvis. So we need. I think they're bringing up. I forgot his name from AAA. So I'm gonna watch the Phillies, and I'm still trusting the process. Thank you. Oh, and the Flyers. They're, if they make the playoffs, first round exit. But
The Flyers are trusting the process too. Just a different kind of. It's a different kind of process.
but still, I watch the Phillies. They're not done.
All right. Go ahead, Amina. Tell us what it holds for Philly sports and your Warriors. Just go ahead. Tell us what it looks like in the Bay and in Philadelphia.
Matt's over there, hater.
That's it. That's all you got.
No, but he's a hater.
That's the resident hater. We know he does. We know he's the resident Warriors hater. I know.
Hater. But
Lies.
anyway, hater. Um, Eagles, I see them when Carson Wentz comes back, going to another good run. Phillies, they are where they are. I hope they can have something good happen. Um, Sixers, they need a new coach because their coach does not coach a team to close out games. Flyers, they are
Preach,
with, huh?
preach. I said preach. Yes, the
Oh,
Sixers totally need a new head. Preach.
yeah, and Flyers, they are what they are. Now Bay Area. My football team. Well, I just got over the emotional spell of it all. Um, we haven't bounced back at all from the game we had last year on December 24th. We've only had one speak worthy game since then. And anybody that knows me knows that I love my beloved Raiders. They put me through an emotional ring of fire all season long, very unnecessarily. They didn't have to do it to me, but they did it anyway. Um, but what's going to happen is that during off season, we're going to have to totally gut the team as far as offense. We're going to have to get new offense coordinators, defense coordinators. We're going to get some wide receivers, the backup quarterback, and I'm giving our head coach one more year. He needs to shape up or ship out. If he don't shape up by next season, oh, he's out of here. By next off season, he got to go. But I'm giving Jack Del Rio another chance. You better get it together. Warriors, my loves. Yeah, we're number one in the West right now. We have a game tonight against the Hornets. I gotta go back to check the score with that. We're most likely gonna win that game, of course. Steph Curry, he's been on injury leave for the past few weeks. You know, ankle boo boo incident, but he's coming back. Hopefully, I hear possibly this weekend or sometime this week. and it's going to be really insane because we're already running through teams with Kevin Durant, Draymond Green, Klay Thompson running the ball and running the court. But once our point guard, Steph Curry, comes back to the court, always going to be putting the NBA back on notice. And our mission is the finals in June. That's all there is. We have no other itinerary or agenda. Just getting back to the finals for a fourth year in a row. That's how we're gonna do that. But yeah, I'm looking forward to sports moments in 2018 coming from the major sports organizations. And hey, farewell 2017.
All right. Let's see. What does the future hold for Philly sports in 2018? I'm gonna cover the main ones because I know Matt covered Phillies and Flyers. The Sixers, they definitely need a new coach. I was at that game last Thursday when they blew a 22-point lead to the Raptors, and it was bad. The Sixers, yeah, they need a new coach. They need a backup center behind Embiid, not named Amir Johnson. They need a lot of things. They definitely need a new coach, though. I like Brett Brown, but it's just not working here. They definitely need a new coach. The Eagles with Carson Wentz and a more balanced attack here. The Eagles are fine. They're going to make a good playoff run, and the Eagles shall be fine. They just need some more offensive line help, and they should be good. The Flyers and Phillies, they're just trusting the process. Hopefully, they'll be good. But I think in 2018, the main two teams will be back. The Sixers, not this year, but maybe next year in 2018 with some more free agent signings. They'll be contending again in 2018. The Eagles are already contending. Carson Wentz is going to make another big step and just be great and hopefully lead us to a Super Bowl in these next 2 years. That's my pick for 2017, 2018. Obviously, if we win one this year, it'll be great, but we'll see. But I definitely think they're going to win one as long as Carson Wentz is the quarterback of the Philadelphia Eagles. Yeah. Yeah. That wraps up 2017. That wraps up the final podcast of 2017. I have kept my promise. I told Courtney we'd be done before 11:30, and we are done before 11:30. I kept my promise. And what else? Thank you all. Thank you, Matt. Thank you, Amina. Thank you, Andre. Thank you, Courtney, for coming through. It's been great. It's been a great podcast. It's been a great year in 2017 for the Crossover Podcast. As I said, we've added people. We were just 2 or 3, myself and Trey, but now we done added people, and now we got a straight roster of at least 6 to 8 people that I know I can rely on to come through when their schedules allow them to. But I thank all of them for their consistency. I hope they've had a great Christmas, great Kwanzaa, because I know some of us do celebrate Kwanzaa. And just Happy New Year. Look forward to us in 2018. It will be. We're gonna have some great shows planned for 2018. Hopefully the hits just keep on coming in the sports world. Thank you all for listening. Like I said, thanks to the guys for not counting it robbery to come on out and support on a Friday night and add their opinions, add their uniqueness to this podcast. This podcast wouldn't be half of what it is now if it wasn't for them. If it wasn't for everybody just adding their unique flavor to the podcast. So I thank all of them for that. I thank them for coming out on a Friday. We will be switching days because, unfortunately, for you Trey fans, Trey can't make Fridays anymore. Probably going to switch over to like a Saturday morning, like Saturday afternoon, Saturday night podcast eventually. But for right now, it's still going to be on Fridays. But in order to fit Trey back in, we're going to probably switch to Saturday nights. But yeah, so I thank them. I thank everybody. Have a great weekend. Happy New Year. Good weekend. Stay warm if you're on the East Coast because it's about to be frigid around here. So yeah, have a great weekend. Happy New Year. Deuces.